So in the previous class, we have gone through different topics that were uh, related to memory design. The next topic we will be dealing with is design for testability. Okay. The next topic is design for testability. So in design for testability, we will basically focus like how we should be testing a chip. Okay, how testing of chip should be done, and what type of faults, or we call it defects, what type of faults can occur into a digital circuit. We will be seeing this. So whatever, how the testing should be done for a chip, and what are the different faults that can occur into a digital chip, we will be seeing this. This is basically focusing on the testing of a chip once it is fabricated, and that is post fabrication, or we can say uh, post fabrication, or we call it post production. So once it is going to the market, before going to the market, it should be tested, and testing is a very crucial part for designing any electronic device. Okay, any electronic circuit, if we are implementing any system, electronic system we are implementing, then testing occurs at each level. Okay, so if we are going to follow chip design flow, so design flow we have seen. So in design flow, starting with specifications, we go up to chip fabrication. Before going from specification to chip fabrication, there are different intermediate steps, and these intermediate steps, whatever steps there, logical design, functional design, structural design, okay, then physical design. So all designs are having a feedback, and it goes, once you are designing a logical circuit, then after designing the logical circuit, we go for testing. We test this logical circuit whether it is meeting our specifications or not. Based on the logical, we go for structural design. Whatever structure or circuit we have implemented, gates we have implemented. Okay, suppose the circuit is there. Okay, suppose this is the circuit. Once we have verified its logical functioning, we will be providing inputs and we will be testing the output. Okay, so this is the structural design. Then we will be going for physical design. In physical design, whatever we will be using the transistors, okay, to design the same. And after designing this transistor, we will go for the layout. Okay, so in transistor designing, once we have designed, we will go for simulation, and we will simulate it for DC analysis and transient analysis. Okay, so this analysis is nothing but the testing of the circuit, whatever circuit we have implemented. So once it is correctly working with respect to our specification, then we will be going for layout design. In the layout also, whenever we are going for layout design, we always check for design rules. Okay, so these design rules are nothing but the testing of this layout, whatever layout we are going to design. So after layout has been perfectly designed, we will go for chip fabrication. So once the chip is fabricated, after fabrication also we go for testing. Okay, so once a chip is fabricated, okay, there will be some inputs and there will be some output. So with respect to inputs, there should be a fixed output. Okay, so whatever, suppose it is a NAND gate. Okay, if it is a NAND gate circuit is there, then we already know the truth table of NAND gate. Okay, so whatever truth table of NAND gate is there, with respect to that, we know like if A and B are the inputs, if it is 0 0, it is 0 0, then 1. If it is 0 1, output will be 1. Okay, so on. We already know like if it is NAND gate, if this is the input pattern, this should be the output. Okay, so while testing after chip is fabricated, that is called post-production testing. Okay, so post-production or after post-fabrication testing, and these are the different testing steps that are pre-fabrication. Okay, so before going to fabricate a chip, we are testing the circuit, or you can say logical structure, logical design at each stage. Okay, so testing is very important in any type of system design. Basically, in case of VLSI circuit design, we should be testing the chip at each stage, and if it is not meeting our specification, we should be back tracing our the steps that whatever steps we have followed. Okay, so these are the different steps and we should be following, and in this design for testability, we will basically focus on the testing after chip has fabricated. After the chip has fabricated, we have got a chip that is having input and output. We will go for testing this fabricated chip. Okay, so what are the different faults can occur into this chip? We will see that and how the testing can be done. So what is the need of testing? The same. Why there is a need for testing? So the need of testing is because suppose there are 10 steps. There are different steps. Suppose we are following 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Suppose 6 steps are there. Okay. So we have followed first step, then second, then third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. We have followed all the rules and regulations, whatever it is given into each step, and at the end we have got a chip. Okay, now suppose at the end we are going for testing, and after the chip is fabricated, we go for testing. So this testing can have two results, either pass or fail. So after following all the 6 steps, whatever chip we have got, after testing, suppose it is pass, then it is good. Okay, because whatever specification we have taken for designing, that is met, that means it is pass. But suppose it fails. After following all the steps, we have got a chip that is failing our specification. That means it is of no use. That means all the steps that we have followed, it just get wasted. Okay, so all the time that we have consumed here, all the money or all the production money, whatever cost we have beared through going through these steps, we have just wasted all the money and time also. So we would not be able to launch our product into the market within time. Okay, so that is one thing. And why we are going for testing at each stage? After each stage, we need testing, because suppose whatever specifications are given here, that specifications will be followed in each step. So at each step, each design step of design flow, we are going for testing. Okay, so this testing, if it is passed, then only we will be proceeding to the next step. If it pass, then only we will be moving to the next step. Okay, so that means if it is not meeting our requirement here, we will again move to the previous step and follow it. So this will be less time consuming and it will be less costly. Okay, and even less time consuming. Performing the testing, so that at the end whatever product that should be free from all the errors, or we can say defects. Okay, so that's why we will be requiring a testing of a chip. Okay, so here what is the basic principle of testing? So the basic principle of testing is like a chip is there. So this chip that we are going for the testing is called uh, design under test. We call it design under test, or we call it chip under test. This is chip under test, or we call it design under test. Okay. So this is a design under test. So this design under test will be having some inputs. Okay, will be giving some output. Okay, so while testing a chip, we will be giving some set of inputs. Okay, so some set of inputs we should be providing to the chip, and with respect to that, we will record whatever output it is giving. Okay, so some set of random inputs we will be providing. So these random inputs are called test vectors. So these inputs will be called test vectors, are called test patterns. So whatever inputs we will be providing to the chip under test or design under test, that inputs will be called a test pattern or test vectors. So these are random inputs. Okay, so these are the random inputs. So these random inputs, whatever random inputs we are providing to a chip, with respect to that, we will be getting some response, that output. So these output, whatever output we are getting, that should be compared with the original stored response. Because we already know whether it is NAND gate. So we already have its truth table. So with respect to that truth table, we will be having a recorded or already having some output response with respect to a particular specific input. So if this is the input, with respect to that, and this type of testing is basically done by an automatic test equipment. Okay, so this is a powerful computer operating under the control of a test program that is written in high level language. So it is a program. So this is called automatic test equipment. This automatic test equipment will be having a program that will automatically give a test input or test vector to the chip, and it will test whether it is uh, providing the same output that we have designed for. Okay, so if it is okay, that will be considered as a pass. The chip will be passed. Otherwise, it will be giving an error. That means it is a fail. So here, DSP, digital signal processing, are basically used for testing, analog testing. So these are like how the principle of testing is work. Uh, I think it should be okay to you. Okay. So we'll proceed the next testing philosophy and role of test. So what are the role of a test is there? So a product, if a product is there that is fails after design, that means what could be the effect of that failure? Whatever, what is the chances? Like what is the cause of that failure? So that failure may be because of the design is incorrect, or it may be like fabrication processes that we have followed was a faulty process, and it may be like when we are going for testing, there may be like whatever test inputs we have provided, that maybe the testing method is wrong, or the specification had a problem. So if a chip is being failed while testing, there may be one of these problems. Okay, so we have to identify the problems, that which is the problem and what type of problem it is. So the rule of testing is it detects whether something went wrong. It will detect and the diagnosis of the role of diagnosis is to exactly determine what went wrong or where the process need to be altered, where we need to change the process so that the correct output can be get. Okay, so this is the testing and the diagnosis. What is the diagnosis? So once we will be diagnosing the chip, it will provide you the exact location, or you can say type of fault it is. Okay, so there are different terms that are being used into our digital testing. So input test vectors, you already know what is input text vectors. So that is, it is a combination of zeros and ones, and that is applied in parallel to primary inputs for design and test. So whatever design and test is there, whatever inputs we will be providing, that will be called test vectors. Test patterns. So test patterns are, that is an input test vector and correct output response. So it is whatever test patterns are, whatever inputs we are providing, the combination of input or test vectors. With respect to that, whatever output, correct output we are getting, that will be called test patterns. And test sets are the collection of these test vectors that will be uh, exhaustive or reduced. Means exhaustive means if two input NAND gate is there, or suppose two input NAND gate is there, so AB will be having 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1. So four possible input combinations are there. So if we are using, we can use all the four input combinations, that will be called exhaustive, or we can use either of any of the four. Either suppose we have used 0 0 and 1 0. Only two test vectors we are using to check the chip. Okay, so these are called reduced set, and this is called complete set will be called exhaustive set. Okay, so these are the input patterns will be applied to the combination circuits. And for sequential circuits, as it is having a feedback, so there is some extra circuitry is required. So basically here we will be focusing on combinational circuits. Okay, so what is the problem in testing? So we will see what is the problem. So problems, there are two type of basic problems are there. So one is volume of data and time to test. So while testing a chip, there may be two type of problems. One is volume of data and the time to test. So suppose any chip is there that is having n inputs. Okay, m inputs are there and m outputs are there. Okay, so that means there will be 2 to the power n number of input vectors that are to be needed for testing that particular chip. Okay, so here a chip is there that is having inputs. So that is, if n inputs are there. Okay, so if n inputs are there, that means for n inputs, total 2 to the power n combinations of inputs will be there. If m outputs are there, that means total uh, m outputs will be there. So once we are going for testing, we should be having total 2 to the power n number of possible inputs. So we should be, if we are going to check one by one, it will be taking larger time. So suppose 2 to the power n number of input vectors are there, and if f is the frequency of applying the test vectors. So if we are applying the test inputs with the frequency of f, then total this much of time is needed for testing each input. Okay, so this much of uh, time will be required for testing each input. And here we are having m number of outputs. Okay, so with respect to 2 to the power n, so one input is there. With respect to one input, we will be checking all the inputs, all the outputs. Okay, so if 0 is given to the first input, and whatever input is given to the other, whatever output is there, we will be checking. So that means 2 to the power n into m number of output signals should be checked for uh, correct response, like whatever output is there that is having the correct response with respect to particular input or not. We should be having that much of output signal checking. Okay, so in this case, this is for combination. Similarly, we are going for sequential circuits. Here S is the storage elements. Okay, latch or flip flop. Then to the power S will be total number of states, and total number of input vectors that should be we should be providing, because there are different states are there, so that states will also be having working as an input. So total to the power n plus s will be the number of test vectors required. So the combinational, in case of combinational and in case of sequential, that much of time we should be requiring. Okay, so suppose for example if it is n is equals to 10 is there. Okay, so if n is equals to 10 is there, then 2 to the power 10 will be 1024. Okay, so that into, suppose one test input is requiring a particular input pattern of some time. So suppose if it is requiring 10 millisecond, then this much of time will be required to test a particular chip. Okay, that is having a 10 input only. But today the chip size is very large. It is having large number of inputs. So with respect to that, if we are having a large input chip, then it will be requiring very large time for testing each input. So we're going to check each input. We will be finding out like what are the different methods we should be using, so that we can reduce the testing time. Okay, so here the volume of data and the time to test, these are the very important that are like a problem in case of testing. Another one is limited number of input and output pins available for testing. So also there is I suppose a chip is there having 50 pins. So for 50 pins chip, there is some pins available for testing. So there are limited number of some pins, that is one or two, or very limited number of pins are used for uh, testing. Okay, so for any chip, there are very limited number of pins are available for testing. So it is very difficult for going to test a particular circuit. Okay, so these are the different problems that we face generally. So the cost of testing. So the cost of testing is basically done by design for testability, in that chip area overhead and the yield reduction that will be done by while performing the testing. And performance overhead, there will be an extra overhead over the performance. Okay, so this design for testability will be one of the cost that we should be incurring while testing. Okay, software processes of test. So while testing any chip, we need basically different steps and softwares. So in that test generation, there is a software used called automatic test pattern generation, ATPG, that is used for generation of test vectors. Test vectors are randomly generated by this software, and then fault simulations are there. So whatever faults are there, that should be, suppose this is the complete chip. If some input are given, whatever input is there, if it is having a fault, that fault should appear at the output. Okay, this simulation of fault, or you can say appearance of fault of a chip at the output, is called fault simulation. Okay, so these are time taking processes there and requires extra cost. So test programming and along with debugging is one of the uh, extra cost that industry has to bear while going for device testing. And manufacturing test, so automatic test equipments, it will be required for testing also. And test center and center operational costs, these are the different costs that should be included in case of testing any chip. There are different type of tests. Okay, so we will be basically focusing on characterization testing, DC parametric testing, AC parametric testing, and production testing. So characterization testing are basically the tests that are done before the chip is being fabricated, and before the chip has been fabricated. Okay, so it is also called design, debug, or verification testing. Okay, it is performed on a new design before it is sent for production. So before it is going for production, it will be done. That is called characterization testing. So in characterization testing, we will be basically going for AC and DC measurements that we do, circuit simulations we do, Okay, and also we will be checking whether all the device is correctly working and it is meeting all the specifications or not. Okay, a characterization test determines the exact limit of device operation values. So it in the because it is going for fabrication. So before fabrication, we should be finding out all the maximum, or you can say minimum operating values. Okay, of a chip. So this is like provide a limit to its worst case and worst case analysis. This will be basically showing you the worst case values before going for chip fabrication. DC parametric test. So DC parametric testing is like a test where we should be testing a particular chip for sort sort test, open test, leakage test. So these are the DC parametric testing. So this is performed by a parametric measurement unit. PMU is parametric measurement unit is a device that we use for testing the DC parameters of any chip, and it is much slower than the normal operation. So in normal operation, we design a circuit and we go for testing, or we provide inputs, okay, and we get the output. So with respect to that, we go for output verification, like whatever input providing with respect to that, what is the output, that is output verification. But in DC parametric testing, we will be providing the input and we will be checking the output, and in that we will be checking the short test, open test, and whatever leakage currents are there, so that we will be testing. This is basically a slower process than the normal operations that we will be performing. Okay, so here static operating currents are tested. Okay, this will check the power consumption at standby, or we call it the leakage power also. So at standby, whatever power consumption is there, that is called leakage. Output short current test. It will verify that the output current drive is sustained at high and low output voltage. So whatever uh, high voltage and low voltage are there, with respect to that, what is the current that we will be checking, and output drive current test. So in that we will be checking it for maximum output, whatever a load is connected to the device. Then if a load is connected, then what should be the current flowing through the output terminal, that we should be testing in DC parametric test. Similarly, AC parametric test. In AC parametric test, we will be including, so in AC, we will be including, it is like a transient analysis. So whatever do the transient analysis similar to it, it is AC. So in that transient, with the analysis will be with respect to time. With respect to time, we will be dealing with the output. So here delay test is performed, setup and hold tests, and also the rise time and fall time we will be checking. Rise time and fall time. So these are the different tests we should be performing in AC parametric testing. It ensures the value, that is states changes that occur at right time. So at what particular time, what is the output or a state is there, that we will be checking. Uh, so some AC parametric tests are mainly for characterization and not for production test. So here it is like in AC parametric, this will be basically a pre-production, or we can say it is similar to characterization testing. Okay, it is not for after production. It is basically checked before production. Okay, so these are the different measurements that we should be performing. The next one is production testing. So in production testing, after the chip is fabricated, we will be going for it the testing. So every fabricated chip is subject to production test. Okay, the test patterns may not cover all the possible functions and data for patterns, but must have a high full coverage of model fault. So like as we have previously said, if it is suppose any chip is there that is having 50 inputs, so that means 2 to the power 50 input combinations will be there. So we will not go for testing each of these combinations. We will be randomly selecting some input patterns, and with respect to that, we will be checking the output. Okay, so random inputs will be taken. This is called random, or you can say test vectors will be used. This test with some selected test vectors will be used, and with respect to that, whatever output is there, we will be checking, and if it is giving the output, correct output, it will be made okay. Okay, so and these test vectors should be selected such that it should cover all the faults. Whatever possible faults are there, it should be covering all the faults. We'll take some examples and check whether what type of analysis or what type of test input test vectors are basically used. Okay, so in the production testing, we focus on go or no go decision. That means if it is pass, it is like correct, it is go. If it is fails, means it is abandoned. We will not be using that chip. But in the it is production testing. Before production, if we are going for testing, then we can go to the previous step and we can change some device specification or whatever steps we are following. In that step, we should be changing some steps, and that steps changing can affect the output. So here back tracing is not possible. We cannot back tracing. Back tracing is not possible in production testing, because once the chip is fabricated, we cannot go into the again the fabrication and change the device or the chip. Okay, so it is directly either go or no go decision. If it is pass, it is okay. If it is fail, that means that cannot go further for any modification to get the specification whatever we need. But if it is uh, characterization testing, in that characterization testing, it is before fabrication. If it is before fabrication, if there is some error is there, some specifications are not meeting, then we can follow the previous step again, and then we can go for fabrication. Okay, so here back tracing is possible. Okay, this is just like a theoretical concepts are there. Okay, so here some example of physical defects. So the defects can be in the chip. There can be a physical defects also. So the physical defects could be like defects in silicon substrate. While designing fabricating a chip, whatever substrate we have used, if there are some defects at the molecular side of the substrate or silicon substrate, this is called a defect in silicon substrate. Photolithographic defects while performing the photolithography, if there comes a defect, that will be photolithography while this is at the fabrication type. Basically it is at the time of fabrication. Mask contamination and scratches while depositing different layers. If different layers are there, if we are depositing different layers, okay, so while depositing different layers, if we are having some contamination, some dust particle or any defects can occur, so that is mask. Process variation and abnormalities. So process variation means whatever steps or whatever structure, whatever material, device or layer we are going to use, if it get varied, whether while going for fabrication, then it may cause the effect on chip. And oxide defects, there may be some defects into the oxide of the chip also, oxide of the device, so that may cause fault at the product fabricated chip. Okay, so there are different faults. So in physical faults, it could be of two type, that is electrical faults and logical faults. So in electrical faults, these are the electrical faults, okay, so that we have seen that could be there. And in logical faults, we will be basically analyzing logical stuck at 0 or stuck at 1. So suppose because of these electrical problems, there may be like, suppose we have designed uh, NAND gate, it is A and B, and this is output. So there may be a chance like this A node, whatever A terminal is there, it is already at, it is always at 0. If by default there is some short circuit or it is short circuited by the ground, it is connected to ground and A will be always at 0 into a particular chip. Then if it is always at 0, then this will be called stuck at 0 fault. Okay. Similarly, suppose output terminal. So output terminal may be having a fault, that is it is always 1, because it may be like this terminal is connected by some error, by some defect, because of this any physical defect. It may be like it is connected to VDD. It is always connected to VDD. Then the output will always be 1. So this will be called stuck at 1 fault. Okay, so there will be stuck at 0 or stuck at 1 fault, or slower transition, or you can say there will be a delay fault. Slower transition means the output will be changing very slow. So this slower transition may be because of the extra capacitance. If there is extra capacitance, that may cause the slower transition at the particular node. Okay, that will be causing the delay fault. And another logical fault is like AND bridging or bridging. So two terminals may be behaving like an and or there may be an or logic. So this type of bridging, while we are connecting two nodes or three nodes, this terminal may be working as AND logic or logic. So this type of bridging is basically called and or bridging. Okay, so we will see basically here the logical stuck at faults and stuck at 0 faults. Okay, there are some example of physical faults. So in this, suppose this is the layout. So into the layout, this terminal, this is connected, and this is by, so because of some defect at this point, at this layer we call it, this terminal is get connected to the ground. So if this terminal is get connected to ground and this terminal is your Z, that means Z is connected to ground. Okay, so this can be represented in terms of circuit. This is physical defect. In electrical part, we can see like this is a defect. So they, like this terminal Z output terminal is connected to ground by a resistance. A resistance or resistive sort will be there. So this defect, we will be reflecting it into electrical form. This, so your Z will always be having, this will always be connected to ground with the resistive path. That means Z will always be connected to 0. Okay, so Z will always be connected to 0. That means it will be having an fault that is called stuck at 0 fault. Okay, so this will be your logical structure. So this is a physical structure, this is electrical structure, and this is your, okay, so this is electrical, this is physical structure. In that there will be a defect. Because of this physical defect, in the electrical there will be a resistant extra resistive path will be there, and this will be making Z terminal to always 0. That means at the logical part, this is a NOR logic is there, parallel NMOS is there, so the NOR logic will be there. In that NOR logic, at output will always be connected to 0. That means stuck at 0 fault is there at the output terminal. Okay, so this is how the defects can be seen at the output terminal. Okay, so this is the overview to the defects. In the next class, we will be basically seeing uh, the different test patterns and how we can detect a particular defect or stuck at fault and stuck at 0 fault into a given circuit, logical circuit. Basically, in case of digital circuits, we will see how we can detect the faults and what are the different fault coverage and fault simulations are there. That is are the topics we should be covering into the class. So that will be dealing in the next class. Okay, if you have any query, you can ask. Otherwise, we will be closing.